What is going on, y'all? Gamers Goon here today with my Chicago Bears free agency wish list. Now, I made this list yesterday. Now, this was after picking up Jonah Jackson via trade. I think we traded a 6th-round pick. And then this morning, I wake up to the news that the Bears are trading a 2026 4th-round pick for Joe Thuney. Now, I do have my list here, and I'm not going to change it necessarily, but Joe Thuney is 32, and then you look at Jonah Jackson. He is 28. Now, Jonah Jackson, I think, was the 40th rated guard, can play some center. Added that to the offensive line, probably a day one starter if healthy. That's the big thing with him. He has to be healthy, kind of like Tevin Jenkins. He's been on and off the field recently. And then you go to Joe Thuney, who really, really good guard, left guard, can play some left tackle also. Now I'm starting to wonder, have the Bears made their splash moves before free agency? And should we expect them to go offensive line still? I don't know, but I did not change my wish list because I can kind of talk myself into some of these guys still with the 2 guys we just picked up that are, as of right now, probably guards, but maybe you kick Braxton Jones around, maybe make Braxton Jones the left guard and Thuney the left tackle. Maybe you're looking to replace Braxton Jones, and maybe you're still in the market there for some of these guys that I put down. But right now, your offensive line, 3 solidified starters is probably Jackson. You're looking at Thuney, and now you're looking at Darnell Wright, who obviously we drafted not too long ago to play that right tackle position for us. Braxton Jones, I like. The jury's kind of out on whether or not he'll have a starting job next year. We'll see once free agency kicks around if he will or not. Now, that doesn't change anything. We still need a center, and the best one out there, and one that I think is going to be a hot commodity amongst some of those teams that are desperate for centers. So you're talking a lot of teams that think they might be there. I think I've heard the Texans' name floated around a little bit. Drew Dalman, the center out of the Falcons. You're probably looking anywhere between 10 to 20 million for this guy. I wrote 15-ish million. We don't really know what his market's going to be. We expect it to be around the 15, but I've seen anywhere from 11 to 20 from what he could demand. It's really going to be a matter of who is the teams in and will they push the price up. And the Bears have the money, even after 2 big $17 million contracts they just traded for, they still have the money to make those moves if they desire. They had 52-ish million after the Jonah Jackson move. Now they're probably around 35-ish. So if you go in for Dalman, you're likely looking at a lot of other guys that aren't going to be super big impact players, but probably veterans. So Dalman is somebody to watch at that center position, the biggest hot commodity. This is just a wish list. I'll take a few other centers, but that's my number 1 guy there at the center position. I would like to see the Bears go get. Still young, would fit the timeline. It would be a good pickup for the Bears. And then I go to the receivers. The receivers were the next ones I marked down. I got 2 of them. We'll start off with the less exciting of the 2. I'd bring them in blocking-wise. You see the Bears really, and even with Ben Johnson at the Lions last year, you see them rely on their receivers to block. And then you're going to get them in the Bears. I think it'll be very similar the way Ben Johnson will run in the offense. I'd go Mac Hollins, a veteran, 30-something years old, only command about $2.5 million there. Not a big spending type of go and get him kind of guy, but a guy that, hey, if we need a third option, he's proven, he's reliable, he can go block. He's not a guy that I think is going to be demanding more targets or anything like that. I mean, obviously, Devontae Adams just became a free agent. You're not going to go get somebody like that where they expect to see 75, 80 targets in a season. You could get away with Matt Collins only targeting him maybe 20 times a season, but be a rotational player, go in there, block, go in there, and be that third receiver when needed. So Matt Collins is somebody there that I would be interested in if I were the Bears. And then I go to Josh Palmer. Now, you might be like, what? Josh Palmer from the Chargers? Here's why I'm interested. He's 25 years old. At one point, he was considered to be the guy that would be the number one receiver with the Chargers. Then, obviously, Lyman McConkey popped out and had his big year. Josh Palmer, though, as the number 2 last year behind, I guess he was the number 3 behind Keenan Allen and Mike Williams before they both left, was pretty solid. He was pretty solid. You're looking probably around the $5 to $6 million mark range here. It's affordable. It's affordable for a guy that can come in, keep learning under DJ Moore, can be that third option. A little bit of an upgrade over Tyler Scott, but a guy that you can put into your offense, and I think he'd be pretty solid as that third playmaker. Then we got another one here, another $2 million budget option that I think should probably command more, but he won't because he's just super old, is Zach Ertz. We saw how great he did for Jaden Daniels. I would really like to see the tight ends be more involved in the Ben Johnson offense. You're looking obviously at Cole Kmet being your lead guy, so you got to convince Zach Ertz to be the second option there. But you can expect the Bears, whether it's the draft, free agency, to go tight end. Ben Johnson will get another tight end. The tight end room is not very good right now outside of Cole Kmet. Obviously, releasing Gerald Everett, I don't think Marcedes Lewis will be back, so they do have to add a couple tight ends to that room. Somebody like Zach Ertz has a lot to teach somebody like Cole Kmet, who, granted, Cole Kmet could be a Pro Bowl player if used, but it's always nice to get a veteran in the room there, and also somebody that, if Cole Kmet were to go down, that Caleb Williams could really trust to help make the big plays. And then here's where we get to the guys that I think are probably off the table now, but I could talk myself into it. Mekhi Becton, one of those guys with tackle guard flexibility. You're probably looking around $10 million-ish. This was before Joe Thuney. I would have loved picking up Mekhi Becton. Another big thing about some of these guys I'm talking about, they're still young. They are still young. They still have 4, 5, 6 years left in them. And Joe Thuney might only have 1 or 2, right? 32 years old. How good realistically will it be when he's 34, 35 years old? More of a bridge type of pickup. Getting somebody like a Mekhi Becton would really, really help out. And you wouldn't bridge Mekhi Becton. He would come in and he would push Braxton Jones to the bench. Braxton Jones would probably become that 6th offensive lineman, which, to be honest with you, wouldn't be horrible. I know Braxton Jones wouldn't like that. I know a lot of players probably wouldn't like that. But in the Ben Johnson offense with the 6 offensive linemen, that means you're coming in and you're catching touchdown passes, you're blocking as a fullback. The Ben Johnson offense just makes it real friendly for a 6 offensive lineman. I wouldn't be opposed to it if I were Braxton Jones. I know he wouldn't like that idea more than likely, but Mekhi Becton, a guy that could come in, push Braxton Jones to the sidelines, or say you don't go Dalman and maybe you do put Jackson at the center. You got to now fill the right guard, and you got to probably keep Thuney over there. You'd switch maybe Becton to the right side, even though he's playing on the left right now. But Becton is a guy with some flexibility that I wouldn't mind having in Chicago. Will Fry's another one. I think he was 4th rated in PFF for guards. Another young guy. A little bit of injury history there. This was kind of the guy that once Trey Smith was off the board, all Bears fans are like, okay, well, we're going to transition to Will Fries. Yeah. Will Fries. Expect us to still be involved. Don't really know if we're going to be able to get him. Then you go to Aaron Banks, another guy. A lot of people have been floating around out of the 49ers. This one is not as great as Becton or Fries, but still a solid pickup. Better than what we have currently. Probably would start for us. I don't think he would necessarily be a guaranteed starter depending on what you do. If you don't get a center, then he probably is a guaranteed starter. You'd kick him to the right side. But also somebody that if you do move Braxton Jones to the sideline and move him inside or whatever to kick Thuney out to the left tackle, Banks might have some ability there to play in that starting rotation. He is the one that I would be okay with, but he's probably number 3 out of the 3 guards that I just mentioned, guys that I would expect the Bears to be interested in prior to these moves. I don't know if they will still be after these 2 big moves that we made the last 2 days. So we shall see with the Bears what they do on that offensive line. That did kind of shake up this list just a little bit, made it a little less likely for those 3 guys right there to be Chicago Bears. But you're talking about Joe Thuney, who is 32, so maybe the Bears would be interested in bringing in somebody that could potentially take over for him, like a Mekhi Becton, if you were able to get Becton in on a 3, 4, 5-year deal. Then we go to the edge rushers. Something you got to get Montez Sweat, a duo partner, somebody to tango with. And I don't like the price on this one. Khalil Mack, the expected price is around 20-ish, 25-ish million. I wrote this down. I would take Khalil Mack if we are able to convince Khalil Mack to come in on a discount. Is that likely? I don't know. But I do know that Khalil Mack has spoken highly of us in the past. I do know that Bears fans would welcome Khalil Mack with open arms back to Chicago. That's just a steep price for somebody that is aging. Now, Khalil Mack is coming off some pretty solid seasons with the Chargers. Obviously, we traded him not too long ago. But is it worth paying $24, $25 million for a guy that's not getting any younger? He might only have 2 or 3 more good years left in him. And even then, you're risking it. If you go a 2-year, $45 million deal or something, even then you're playing with some fire because there's no guarantee Khalil Mack is still going to be good next year, and you're going to be eating a $22 million cap there. He's somebody that I really like, obviously, big fan. Somewhere around here I have a Khalil Mack jersey, obviously. Chicago embraced Khalil Mack while he was on the team. Big part of the team. One of those guys that bleeded for the city of Chicago, and everybody loved Khalil Mack while he was here. So somebody I'd be interested in bringing back, but the price tag does scare me a little bit. Then the next one, the more likely of the 2, if you're doing one, or the one I would be more inclined to do, Josh Sweat from the Eagles, coming off a great Super Bowl. He's only expected to be about $18 million. So he's going to be under that $20 million. You might be able to save $5, $6 million from the Khalil Mack deal. And you're getting a guy that is not that old. Josh Sweat, let's bring up him specifically. Josh Sweat, I don't think he's 27 years old. By next year, he'll be 28. But definitely somebody that you bring in, you'll have for 4 or 5 years. Whereas Khalil Mack, you might not have that long. You might not have that long with him. But Josh Sweat, somebody that definitely, the way he played in the playoffs, earned a big deal. If I had to pick between the 2, I'm taking the younger option for cheaper, just because we might be able to get more out of him for longer. Now, granted, it is appealing to go 1 year. Hey, we have $45 million left to spend. It'd be appealing to say, hey, we'll give you a 1-year deal, Khalil, for $25 million, and show us what you got, and we'll keep signing you to 1-year deals until we feel like you can't play anymore. But it's tempting also to go that younger option that has played pretty well for the Eagles. And then the other one, expected around the same for Josh Sweat, a name I've heard floated around in Bears circles, and a guy that's only 25 years old, about to turn 26, a former top pick in the draft, a guy that everybody considered to be the best edge rusher since whenever, right? Chase Young hasn't had the start to his career as you'd hoped. A lot of injuries on, off. Bounced around a few times, went to the Saints. Hasn't had the most ideal start to his career. But everybody knows Chase Young, when healthy, he's a force. He's a force, and you'd bring him in to be your second guy. You'd bring him in as the second option, and obviously Montez Sweat last year didn't have as great of a year as he did the first year with the Bears. It lit it up the first year when he was pretty much the only guy, but then everybody's like, hey, he's the only guy. You bring in another option, you have the likelihood of people saying, you know what, we're going to commit to Montez Sweat, and then Chase Young could go on a 10-15 sack season. It'd be really, really nice to get somebody to tango with Montez Sweat. Not sure who it's going to be, but any of those three guys that I think could produce big sack numbers alongside Montez Sweat and be real fun for that defense of Dennis Allen next year. And then the last one, no, I don't have a defensive tackle. I don't really love any of the defensive tackles available this year. Milton Williams was a name a lot of people picked up. I just don't see the Bears going Milton Williams, especially if we are in the center market with Dalman being $15 million, and then you're looking at the edges. You probably won't have enough to spend in the defensive tackle market, but Milton Williams would be a name I'd be okay with at the defensive tackle. Not a 3-tech, so you do have that. But safety, take Javon Holland. Take Javon. Now you might be like, why would you go safety? Well, Byard's not really that young. And then on top of that, sorry, I'm texting somebody. Milton Williams can play some 3-tech, by the way. But Javon Holland would come in. Byard, not very young. Holland's pretty good. He might be the guy to push Byard out the way. I don't think he'll push Brisker, but even if he does push Brisker, you got a pretty good second string there. But that's the same thing with Byard. If you can push Byard to the side and have Byard as your second safety coming off the bench instead of maybe like a Jonathan Owens, who you might be able to free up some cap space and cut him, or maybe vice versa, free up some cap space and cut Kevin Byard, why not? It improves your secondary. Another one I would look at is maybe corner. I don't really love any of the corners in this free agency, but I would be looking, if I'm the Bears, for somebody that can push Tyreek Stevenson, not out necessarily, but I want to see Tyreek Stevenson earn his spot. Last year we saw him have a lot of antics and that type of stuff. Not a great year. Coming off a good rookie year. After his rookie year, I thought, hey, this guy's going to be better than Jalen. Not after last year. You got to lock him in. You got to make him concerned. Hey, if I don't lock in, I might lose my role here to so and so. You got to get somebody worth something. Because let's be honest, when Tyreek Stevenson wasn't on the field, it's a drop off. But you need to get him to be that locked in Tyreek Stevenson once again, and you need somebody there to lock him in. So. Corner, somebody I would be definitely looking at, but not a name really in free agency that I love. Might look to the draft for somebody there. And everybody knows here that I'm a big Kobe fan. Out of Kansas, you got to take Kobe Bryant. The other dots are also pretty solid, but I'm a big Kobe fan. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Let me know down below who you think the Bears should go and target here next week for free agency. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.